If you don't think World War III is upon us, pay attention to this. But it's not a war like you're thinking about with bombs, guns, like Ukraine is right now. This is going to be a war of cyber attacks and bio warfare. This is what I've got for you today, so pay attention and let's get into this. China's shadow war. Double agent unveils plot to cripple the United States. When you think of a war, we tend to think of missiles, flashbangs, stuff like that I just told you. This is not what it's going to be like. An opinion piece recently ran in the Wall Street Journal by Richard Mueller titled World War III will be fought with virus. A two-front biological and cyber attack could lead to a U.S. defeat before we know what has even happened to us. Now, if you think of what I'm talking about, and I'm going to show to you the links, but you can't get into them, but I'm going to tell you what China has already done, and this is just them leading up to seeing what they can get away with. Mueller believes that the next war will begin with an attack of a deadly virus on a target country. Doesn't say our country, says a target country. Now, COVID could have been a step into seeing how we handle a deadly attack like this, and it wasn't deadly attack, but a virus of that sort, just as a prelude to something worse. We won't know yet, but we didn't know that was coming either. He's not the only one who believes this to be true. Here are some of the headlines from news sources in recent weeks. China poses an alarming threat to U.S. grid, lawmakers say. National Security Advisor warns World War III may not involve guns and bombs, but biological computer virus. Aggressive. China cyber attacks are the defining threat of our time, top U.S. cyber officials say. Now, for you liberals out there, this is coming from your administration, the Biden crime syndicate family administration. So, if you don't want to believe me, this is coming from the people that you believe, the people that brainwashes you into believing stuff that they say. So, after you hear the rest of this, then you'll understand why I'm putting this out there, because it's not something that's hard to fathom. The problem is that this type of warfare will happen before we are even aware we are in the thick of it. There will be no sirens, no loud bangs. Instead, there will be a silent attacks on hospital systems, which has already happened, our military bases has already happened, our pipelines, making it impossible for the U.S. to defend itself. The signs are right in front of us, and I'm going to try to give them to you. A Chinese defector has warned America that Chinese is ready to attack using biological weapons and computer virus. Yet the U.S. doesn't seem to be taking steps to prepare, despite the warning or the fact that China is preparing itself for war with a sudden reversal of farming policies. Now, if you've read the news, and not the fake news, and seeing where China is making their farmers double up on crops, double up on everything, and they're stockpiling food like crazy in China. They're buying our farmlands up and closing them down so we can't have the cattle and everything that we need to supply the meats and stuff around here. They've got over 775,000 acres that they've bought up and have closed the farmers down. That's one. Joe Biden, of course, is bought out by China, so he's not doing a thing to prepare this. So let's get on with this. No matter what our government does, we citizens can no longer ignore the threat. We must start preparing now. Now, here are some biological warfare news. And you can take each one of them and you can look them up, but however, biological warfare has always existed, but it is banned. However, it appears China may not be following the rules anymore. Consider the following headline. Officials bust illegal lab containing 20 infectious agents, hundreds of lab mice. This is the one in California. In our own country, China is running a lab. Illegal California lab run by Chinese biotech firm contained mice engineered to spread COVID. The coming threat is a genetically engineered ethnic bioweapon. New worldwide threats prompt Pentagon to overhaul chem bio defense. Look any one of those up for yourself if you don't want to believe me. The lab bust is a huge red flag. According to Ars Technica, local and federal authorities have shut down what seems to be an illegal medical lab hidden in California warehouse that contained nearly 1,000 laboratory mice, hundreds of unknown chemicals, refrigerators and freezers, vials of biohazard material including blood, incubators, and at least 20 infectious agents including SARS-CoV-2, HIV, and herpes virus. China has also created bioweapons that specifically target whole racial or ethnic groups. Not only is this idea alarming, but it is even worse when you consider China may already have the DNA data of millions. And this is something from back in COVID and stuff where they've already attacked hospitals and gotten your information, all of our information. According to Michael Knudsen, sorry if I said it wrong, a biosecurity specialist who is a former Army Intelligence and Presidential Management Fellow at the Department of Homeland Security, China may already have had hacked and from medical records and purchase the genetic information of millions of ordinary Americans through genealogical companies such as 23andMe. And all those ones you send in to get your background stuff, they were buying this out for years. China is well aware of how COVID-19 crippled the United States. If they can leverage a biological weapon like that, they can do a significant harm to our economy, our people, and our way of life. Now here's some cyber warfare news. In addition to biological threats, China has already started using cyber attacks, and I'm going to give you some of the headlines right now. Officials found suspected Chinese malware hidden in various U.S. military systems. That's why I told you that the Army bases, there you go. S-hunts Chinese malware that could disrupt American military operation. The mounting death toll of hospital cyber attacks. These have been going on for a while, and most of these you won't hear from the lame news media. So that's why I'm giving them to you. Look it up. Chinese malware could put power to U.S. military bases, businesses, and homes. Reported, cut the power. They could hit our electric grid. China building cyber weapons to hijack enemy satellites, says the U.S. leak. They warn if China could hack infrastructure, including pipelines, rail systems, everything. They could shut us down. They could cripple this country. All they see are huge signs. China is getting ready to attack the United States. So that's why I said this is not the typical war that you're thinking about. It is going to be a way, because that's what China wants. They want to see the U.S. crippled. What is the purpose of these types of attacks on the U.S.? There are a few different theories, but the most agreed upon is that China wants to disrupt and distract the U.S. Currently, China is preparing to go to war against Taiwan. The U.S. has promised to come to Taiwan's defense. Therefore, experts believe China is preparing to unleash a biological agent or a cyber attack in the U.S. to prevent the U.S. military from coming to Taiwan's aid. Imagine if another flu-like virus hits our nation. What's going to happen? The Biden administrations, they are not capable of dealing with a crisis like that. And then as people flock to receive emergency care, the power grid suffers a major cyber attack and the hospitals become incapable of treating the sick. America would be too distracted by our own problems to aid Taiwan. This is what they want. So if you want to believe me or not, that's up to you. Look up the news articles that I said, the headlines. Prepare, get yourself some food, water, some rations to have at least 3 or 4 months worth for each person. Become aware of how to take care of yourself in case that we have to start rationing food from the stores, because if this happens, our pipeline for food and stuff that we buy off of China and that comes in, that that it's imported, is going to stop. And we only have a small set of resources in our country. This is what you've got to prepare for. It could happen in days, weeks, months, but it's going to happen. There's too many signs out there, big shot rich people, and unfortunately Bill Gates and all them are investing money into vaccines and stuff already again, and if you got to pay attention to catch these articles and what they're doing. So let me know what you guys think about this. I'm going to keep an eye on this because something's going to happen. You got to start preparing now. If you don't want to believe me, that's up to you. Be blind, but I know most of you will believe this and probably have already started, because you've seen the signs in front of your face. So leave me questions and comments below. And in the meantime, I'll be looking out for other information on this or other stuff, and I'll get it out to you. So in the meantime, this has been The Talking Point with the Country Conservative. I'm Charlie, and I'll see you next time.